Okay, we're talking day 3 of the NBA play-in. Playoffs started in full force today. I haven't had time to watch any of those games yet. I'm going to give my predictions on how I think round 1 is going to play out at the end of this video. And then hopefully by Sunday, I'll have my thoughts out on the first 8 games of the weekend. Starting with the Hornets Magic game, absolute beatdown. Wasn't even close. The result was never in doubt. Lockdown Magic defense right from the opening tip. Didn't give Charlotte any easy looks. Forced them into late shot clock positions, and then just dominated the defensive boards. Even turned that into a ton of easy transition points, which Charlotte just was not able to stop. They have limited rim protection. Diabate and Kalkbrenner, for as good as they are in other areas of the game, they really just don't have that ability against a team as physical as the Magic. Magic also took advantage of a pretty hot shooting start from 3 in that first quarter. Paolo even hit one, which is insane. You know you're in a bad spot when Paolo is hitting first quarter threes. So it took advantage of that. They aren't usually a team that's able to play 5 out like that. Their percentages on the season have been pretty poor. And again, even in their first playing game, they shot the ball awfully. They cooled down last night, but started off pretty hot early, which was enough to create some easier looks, spread out Charlotte's defense more, open up the paint, which they already had no issues doing. On defense, they just forced tons of turnovers. Charlotte could not deal with the full court press. Anytime Orlando implemented it, Orlando got great minutes off the bench from guys like Goga and Jamal Cain. Anthony Black, obviously. Tristan Silva had some quality minutes as well. Hornets bench, even Kobe White this time, really didn't put up much fight. Couldn't get anything going. Hornets offense all night just could not handle the Magic's defense. Tons of turnovers. Heading into the offseason, still ultimately a very successful season for Charlotte. No one expected them to make the play-in, let alone be one game away from the playoffs. So successful season. They still have a young core that's learning to play together. Most of their guys are still developing. LaMelo had his best season yet. If Khan hadn't been slumping towards the end of the season, we may have even seen them escape the 9-10 matchup, end up in the 7-8 matchup, and then in the matchup against Philly, winner takes all. Who knows what might happen. They could have made the playoffs right then there for matchup against Boston. That's not what happened, but ultimately a good season, successful second season for Charles Lee as head coach, and the future is bright in Charlotte. For the Magic, even though they did escape the embarrassment of dropping out of the playoffs entirely, they're now set up with a very difficult round 1 matchup against the Pistons. I don't give the Magic much chance of escaping. I don't think it will be a sweep. I think the Magic likely take one game off the Pistons, but they do a lot of what Detroit does, but just not at quite as high a level. So they really have to be firing on all cylinders, and Detroit has to have an off game if they do want to stand a chance. Both teams not great 3-point shooters. The Pistons have a more efficient offense this season, even stingier defense than the Magic. Only shot the Magic really stand is just to play bully ball, just ultra physical basketball. They tried it with the Celtics last season. The talent disparity was just too much. That series ended in 5. I see this one going much the same way. As long as Cade is able to play enough minutes, able to do what he's been doing all season, I don't see any issues for the Pistons manhandling the Magic. Piggybacking off of that, I still don't think Jamal Mosley's position is safe. I do think it is very likely that he ends up leaving in the offseason. It would be helpful for Orlando to bring in some new blood who can hopefully really get that starting 5 meshing together. And then next season, barring any injury issues like they had this season, they really could be playing for home court advantage heading into the playoffs. Moving on over to the Suns-Warriors game. Again, not a very close game. Suns led for basically the whole game. There was a few times the Dubs cut it to within 5-10 points, but it really never felt like the tides truly turned against Phoenix. Jalen Green, Jordan Goodwin both had monster games. Took some of the pressure off Devin Booker and Dylan Brooks, who both had below average nights in terms of efficiency, but that is ultimately enough to get it done against a Warriors team that you could tell was just exhausted. They've had a very tough season, and their legs just were not under them last night. Being eliminated does set up a very interesting offseason for Golden State. I really don't think they have a path towards contending again with Curry on the roster. They simply don't have enough resources or enough talent on the team already. Even making a big swing and going after Giannis, even if they could acquire him, even if they stay healthy, I just don't think the two-man show with Giannis and Steph is going to be enough. No one knows what Jimmy's going to look like when he comes back from that ACL tear. And then Draymond's future in Golden State is as uncertain as it has been in these last few seasons. Even Steve Kerr potentially could be on his way out. I think him and Steph leave at the same time. I think next season is likely Steph's last ride. I don't see them making much noise next season, but it does set up a very interesting offseason, seeing whether they try to contend one more time with Steph or if they just commit to letting him have his last season, kind of Kobe-esque, and then after that, they can start the rebuild, start putting some young talent together. For Phoenix, heading into the OKC series, they'd be lucky to avoid a sweep. Even if they did steal one game, nothing else is going to come of that. But getting eliminated in 5 would be the cherry on top for their already successful season. I do think it's possible they avoid the sweep. They likely have to take one in OKC in those first 2 games. If OKC is up 2 heading to Phoenix, I do think they just complete the sweep. And that is what I'm anticipating. But again, with this Phoenix team, you never can tell. They can get hot quick. And as we know, OKC does not have the most reliable three-point shooting, especially come playoff time. Okay, and then that's already 2 of the 8 series down. I do think both of those series will be over quick. I think OKC completes the sweep. I think the Magic likely get discarded in 5. First series besides those 2 that I'll take a look at is Cleveland and Toronto. Raptors did actually sweep the season series against Cleveland. All those games came so early on into the season that it doesn't really mean anything. They haven't played since Cleveland acquired James Harden, Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, Max Strus is now back. So this is a very different Cleveland team than they played at the beginning of the season. For that reason, and just the Cavs' three-point shooting abilities, I do have the Cavs winning in 5. I don't think that the Raptors are fully able to ever take that option away from the Cavs. They just have too much talent, too many guys they can turn to on the bench, even if Mitchell, Mobley, and Harden's shots aren't falling. That Jared Allen, James Harden connection, as we all know, is very potent. I don't see the Raptors being able to stop that too well. Pirtle especially, I don't think that's a good matchup against Allen. CMB may actually stand a better chance, but either way, I think the Cavs dominate this. It might go to 6, but more likely, I think we have this ending in 5. Next up, we have the Nuggets-Timberwolves series, which is always going to be an interesting matchup when we have Jokic against Ant. These teams love playing against each other. One of my favorite rivalries in the league these past few seasons. This is as weak as Minnesota has been in these past few seasons. Nuggets are as deep as they have ever been during the Jokic era this season. Jamal, first All-Star season ever for him. He's playing at an elite level. As we all know, he always rises in the playoffs. And then Jokic, it was a bit shaky when he came back from the injury, but he really dialed things in towards the end of the season. Cam Johnson's finally been settling in. I do give the Nuggets a pretty heavy advantage here. I do think that Ant likely has some heroics in store. And then the Wolves bench isn't as depleted as it necessarily looks. It does just come down to how many minutes they will actually receive and how much Chris Finch is going to trust his starting 5 to finish games. Overall, I have Nuggets in 6. I think this could easily go 7 if things shake out well for Minnesota. I also think it could pretty easily be over in 5. But I do see this one being over in 6. Moving on to the Atlanta-New York series. I believe I originally had Atlanta winning it in 6. I'm going to amend that. I still have Atlanta winning. I do think this goes 7. I think that early on, Atlanta is going to be able to wear down the Knicks with their athleticism, take advantage of Cat and Brunson's defensive shortcomings, constantly putting them in actions. I see Jalen Johnson and Alexander Walker having some big games to start the series off. But I do think that as the series goes on, Atlanta's pace is going to wear on them. And I do think that New York has more experience playing into April, May, not June yet. I still don't think that time is here for the Knicks, but they have more playoff experience. And so I think as the series goes on, it is going to be tougher and tougher for Atlanta to outrun the Knicks the way they likely want to. So I have this one going the distance, but I do have Atlanta squeaking out the upset against the Knicks in 7. Rockets Lakers, I still have the advantage going to Houston. Again, even if Luka does come back at some point, I don't think it's going to be soon enough or at a healthy enough state to really change the outcome of this series. I do see LeBron likely doing his best, stealing a game from Houston that he probably shouldn't. And then there's likely going to be another game where the Lakers role guys really step up. Houston might be shooting the ball poorly. So I do have this one going 6. I don't think it should, but Houston is not a very complete team. They really do suffer from not having a point guard, and they can tend to rely too much on KD to bail them out when he's shooting hot. Şengün and Thompson really just have to be efficient this series, and they should be able to dispatch LA pretty easily, but I don't see a LeBron-led team going away that easily. I have this one ending in 6 in Houston's favor. Second last series, we have San Antonio against Portland. I think this is a pretty open and shut case. I do think this is going to be a sweep. Portland is a good team, not a great team, and San Antonio really took that leap this season. They are a great team, one of the best in the league, could even be title favorites, depending on how they look these first few games of the postseason. So I have it ending in a sweep. I don't think it's going to be particularly competitive, but you never can count this Portland team out. With that said, though, Spurs in 4. Last series, the one I'm personally most invested in, we have the Sixers against Celtics. I am a Celtics fan. Even with that bias aside, I do think that this is going to be a quick series. We don't know if Embiid is going to be back at any point in the series. Even if he is, he's likely going to be coming back to a deficit in the series. I don't know if it will quite be a sweep. The season series was a 2-2 tie, but again, all those games were early enough in the season that it doesn't necessarily portend anything come playoff time. Tatum is back. JB, D. White, playing some of their best basketball. Peyton Pritchard, as long as he can stay consistent off the bench, Celtics should be in great shape, should be able to complete the sweep, but you never know in the playoffs. For that reason, I do have Celtics in 5. I do think they do let one game get away from them that they probably shouldn't, but I think they wrap it up pretty quickly, especially with Tatum back and JB playing at the level he has been.